Hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another weekly live stream.
Well, that's a fun layout you've got us in there.
Yeah, well, I didn't really know how to do it. I didn't have enough time to really think it through, so that's what I did with it. We have the honor to be joined by SerFlash, who.
Oh, that's too much. That was the honor. Come on.
Well,
Of course, it's an honor.
Yeah, I mean it's awesome to have you on here, especially we SerFlash did all the music for the M2 documentary that released on our channel last week, and it really made it work. I felt like.
Yes.
It was such a huge part of the overall feel of the entire documentary that I can't even imagine it with anything else.
I can't either. I mean, I know, especially for you, like the music that you put in an episode is a big part of what drives your inspiration and your editing process. But I mean, every time I watch that intro with that intro music, I mean, it makes you really feel like you're in for something special. And you know what? Maybe it's not special for all I know. If we muted the soundtrack, it might be a terrible documentary.
Yeah, nobody wants to watch
but
that.
The soundtrack makes me believe it is fantastic.
I'm a little off center here. That's okay. It is what it is. Yeah, so we're gonna sit back and we're gonna play some shooting games and just and talk about them. For those that don't know, SerFlash has a channel called Bullet Heaven that has. I mean, how many episodes of the show have you done?
As of yesterday, 240 mainline.
Wow.
With another 50 or so sideline. Yeah.
So if you like really shooters and you haven't seen the channel, like you should go and subscribe because there is days of content there. People have asked if I've come close to reviewing everything I've gotten. The sad realization is I don't. I've got another 400 titles waiting in the wings. Holy cow.
Well, that's actually a good problem to have. I mean, you're never going to run out of ideas, right?
The first worldist problems.
Yeah. I mean, it's a show that I don't remember when I started watching. It was pretty close to. It had to have been close to the start of the channel because you've been doing the channel for longer than we've been doing this channel. That's for sure.
Oh, really? Huh.
We're
in our 10th year right now.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I mean, this is October will be 6 for us, so you've been at it quite a bit longer.
Nice.
But it's there is some great great videos and just a lot of stuff. I mean, I wish that I had realized that you had a Battle Garaga episode because I would have put that on the Blu-ray.
Oh yeah.
if I didn't think about it. I think that as it was coming down when I was authoring the Blu-ray, because you did a trailer for your channel for the Blu-ray, and that was kind of a last minute thing that I had like a little bit of space left, and I was like, oh, that'd be a great thing to put on there because the people that are going to watch this and be interested in this subject are the people that are your main audience.
Yeah, it's true.
So
I kind of wish I had thought of that too, if I'm totally honest.
I know. Well, I didn't think about it until I think that you tweeted out the episode went right after the game was announced, like the physical version was announced. I was like, oh, I should have put that on there.
It's up though if you want to watch it. Like
yeah, exactly. People can go and watch it now, anyways.
Yeah, Japanese version, granted, but I mean, it all translates over the same.
But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and start with Ghostblade HD, which is significant because you provided the alternate soundtrack for this version. For this version, or is it? I mean,
for the HD release in general. So across all platforms. Which would be like, what is it now? Steam, Wii U, PS4, Xbox One, and soon the Switch.
Oh, yeah. There's a Switch version coming pretty soon.
It's going to be, it's on its way, yeah.
Let me turn that
So
up.
is it based on earlier game? I mean, I have to confess, I am not a big shmup guy. so I'm a little unsure about the history of this game.
Well, Ghostblade was originally developed for the Sega Dreamcast, specifically for the Sega Dreamcast, and what HuCast wanted to do was to make a Japanese-style vertically scrolling shooting game.
Okay. So was that developed as a homebrew game or an actual release?
It was a homebrew release, yeah, firmly. I think it was only released in like 2016 originally.
Okay, yeah, because it says 2016 there.
Yeah. Oh, maybe I'm wrong then. It might have been 2015 that the Dreamcast one came out, but it was like it wasn't
as you can see,
that really, much before this. Yeah,
they're dressed appropriately for space shooter.
Oh yeah,
for flying spaceships. Is there a particular ship that you recommend?
That I recommend?
Yeah.
I'm partial to the main ship there, the one in the center.
Okay.
But like the other ones have different play styles that some people might enjoy, different fire patterns and such. But I've always felt that the main ship there, the Ghost, I guess it's called, is pretty much suitable for the entire game. I've always found this was a bit of an easy game too. So if one credit clears are your jam, this is it's a real easy one to get one credit clear on for sure.
Now let me ask you a question. With you being a big shmup fan, this sure. Actually, or excuse me, shooting game.
STG fan.
I was talking to a friend just the other day, and actually, I think it was just yesterday. This came up, and he was. He said he went to a forum, like I don't know what forum it was, but like I'm sure you would know it if I knew what it was. But it was specifically a shooting game community forum.
Okay,
which I'm sure there are several.
There is one in specific that like mostly gets attention for being like the place to form it up. Yeah,
I mean I know the SHMUPS forums, which is
okay.
Like,
but it's a different place.
Oh, I don't know if it was that or not, because I was asking him if that was it, and he didn't know. Because the SHMUPS forums is, I mean, honestly, where we learned a lot of our early stuff about upscaling and the FrameMeister and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
We had FrameMeisters before we started the channel, that kind of stuff. Because the SHMUPS community seems to be very technically minded, more so than a lot of others, I think.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so... I mean, I'm familiar with that forum. I don't know if this is the forum he was visiting or not. It may have been. I don't really look into the shmup specific conversations on that forum particularly. But anyway, he said that someone on the forum was looking to develop a shmup and wanted to ask this community what they wanted to see in a shmup. And one of the first things that just everyone was talking about is if it was just an obvious given was, well, of course it has to be a vertical shmup. I mean, obviously. And we were just kind of laughing at it because he is probably a little more into shmups than I am, but from what I have played, and this is coming from a hardcore, born and bred console guy, not really, I was not ever really a major arcade kid.
Right.
In my mind, I've slightly maybe leaned toward preferring horizontal from what I've played. Not that I think there's necessarily anything inherently wrong with vertical, but I'm curious from your perspective, what would be the reason, and do you agree with that? What would be the technical reasons for why that would just be the obvious? Duh, of course that has to be vertical.
Well, okay. That's a question I've actually had a lot of people ask during my streams and in the comments and such, is which I prefer, horizontal or vertical. Historically, my favorite shoot 'em ups have all been horizontal.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not sure if that's a coincidence or not. But that their horizontal is not the reason why they're my favorite shooters. But to answer your question, why it has to be an obvious given that it's a vertical shooter, it's because so many of them in the arcades had the vertical orientation.
Right.
So if you're looking for like the most authentic arcade experience, then typically speaking, we're talking a vertically oriented screen.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd want to have options for like if you're playing on a horizontal oriented or yoke oriented, or if you're playing in tate oriented play, that there's options for it. But obviously, it does make a difference when you're playing in tate. I've come to find out. Because of the huge boost in detail that you're going to get out of all of your sprites. It's not scaled down.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, if a game is originally developed in that aspect ratio, there's no doubt that
that's going to shine, right?
Yeah, and that's why stuff like HD versions of 240p games, have that option to still have a lot of detail without forcing you to rotate your screen or anything.
Yeah, exactly.
I certainly think for modern platforms where our screens are naturally horizontal, though, like if you're developing an original game for that, though, I think you probably have more to play with.
Yeah. Try really quick. I think we got it. I heard a donation go through. If you want to scroll up in the chat there.
Oh, we did. There was Willie Singleton with $2. Thank you very much.
There was also a question earlier that I saw for SerFlash from our good friend Shinjon, who said something about or where is he? It was like way up at the beginning. He says, "Is there a chance for like a Shienryu review or something like that you're going to be doing?" Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Shirin, or
I would say yes. I've got Steel Dragon EX, the PAL version, already, which I was thinking of doing, but I think I might do a comparative episode between that and Simple 2000, the double Shienryu, for the Japanese PlayStation 2, just to sort of see, what the difference is, the caveats, whether or not there's, obvious differences in performance and such. But yeah, that's something that I'm looking to actually explore sometime in the nearest future.
The second level music is by far the best music in this game, I think.
Oh yeah, the second I enjoyed that one actually. Let me just kind of see if this is the right one or not. It is. Okay. So basically that one there, that particular track, it's not its original form. That one was actually modified significantly for the game release. Oh. And the original was actually an entry for a contest that HuCast was doing just to get onto a CD.
Ah.
And that's what led to the whole thing.
Oh, that's cool then.
Yeah. Yeah, that's there's probably a reason why that's one of the better tracks in there. But yeah, I actually prefer Stage 3 myself. Stage 3's music is more of a big deal to me because that was one of the ones where I, heavily departed from the original composition because I really didn't like the original.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it pushes you, inspires you, I guess,
Yeah, exactly.
To make it what you imagine it to be.
Yeah, the whole idea behind the soundtrack, the alternate soundtrack in Ghostblade HD was that Renee Hellwig, who did the programming and I think the art for this as well, wanted it to have more of a Japanese feel than a European feel.
Oh, yeah.
I took that direction note completely to heart and basically implemented what I felt would be the most Japanese feeling from the original compositions to go into it. Yeah.
I mean, that's
the idea.
That's why you were a good fit for the M2 dock.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
well, thank you.
Yeah, I just everything I was trying with like our normal composer it just wasn't like working in the same way. I really wanted something that felt like a shooter, kind of.
Yeah. And part of what we like about our usual composer's music is that it doesn't necessarily sound overtly video game.
Right.
It's like it's synthy, but it's not like necessarily video game. But like for this, it definitely was like
it needed
we wanted something that made you feel like classic Japanese games.
Yeah.
You know, or something that evoked the spirit of it at least.
Right.
Which, when you say it that way, it sort of makes sense because growing up and even in my early adult life, pretty much everything that I played came out of Japan.
Yeah. Same here for a long time.
Yeah, comparatively few Western games all the way up until Xbox 360, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty
I
much.
mean, it's almost. I feel like it might almost be going slightly back that way for me as well. Like, just in part because I've not really had as much time to put into like current gen AAA style games as much as I would like to. So like I've been kind of gravitating a lot more toward, some of the Japanese games can be time consuming too, but I don't know. I feel like that's kind of what I find myself playing more time into. But yeah, I'm totally with you. That was basically all I played up until, maybe after college.
Yeah. I think when you say that you're gravitating back towards it as well, I gotta say that I'm probably the same way, but maybe in a different manner, because like when it comes to modern stuff, I gotta say like I'm not really feeling it anymore. I just feel kind of disenfranchised with the way gaming has sort of gone in the last generation or so, and I've sort of fallen back on retro in really hard ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to say whether it's necessarily feeling disenfranchised or just not
enough time to play.
Not enough time. Like, what's weird is every once in a while I'm almost feeling like nostalgic for like big AAA stuff, because it's like, man, I remember when I just like, pounded through Uncharted and Infamous and that kind of stuff in a weekend.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, not like I want a taste of that again. But
I think for me though, I'm sort of catching up on. Sorry, I'm sort of catching up on all the stuff that we missed out of Japan, really. So grabbing all of the hardware that's region locked, because we don't do anything like modified or bootlegged or anything like that. It's all legitimate stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We've gotten like the Japanese duplicates of everything that we had, all the way up through the 90s, mid 2000s, and even less current stuff, because mostly it's region free nowadays. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's mainly where I'm at now, is just sort of going back into import retro for all the stuff that we missed on all the consoles that we played growing up.
Yeah, that's where a lot of my time is going too, obviously. But yeah, like in terms of shmups, honestly, I think the only one that I've actually finished is Life Force on NES.
Which is a tough game. I mean,
all the
Gradius games.
See, that's what everyone. See, I'm always surprised because like shmup people are always like, "Oh, that's actually a pretty tough one," but I'm like, it's still something that I'm so intimidated by. Like, I'm just like intimidated by shmups, and I think part of it is because my reflexes tend to be more predictive than reactive. Like, it's just, I don't know, just the way my muscles and brain sync together is always like based on memorization and stuff, which can certainly come into play in this kind of game, but there's so much going on as well that it's also a lot, if you're going by it mostly on memory rather than, oh, I got dodge around these bullets.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Would you say you're a fan of R-Type then? Because that's a pretty memorization based kind of.
I've not put much time into R-Type, actually.
It's good. I think you would probably like
that.
it.
Maybe I should give it a shot.
It's tough. I remember it taking me like a good solid month of practice to beat R-Type Delta. And that has kind of one of my favorite I guess difficulty progressions of shooters, is when you unlock an extra continue for every hour that you play.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I love that.
That's the best way, I think, to not only teach you how to get better at the game, but reward you for just practicing. Because then you have an extra continue to make it a little bit further and see some new stuff, but you also just repeat it, play those early levels over and over again, and eventually you're just be able to go through them without even dying once.
Exactly, yeah. Like, what game was it that I played kind of like that? It was
A lot of the treasure games.
Well,
do it. Like
it was Salamander actually. Speaking of Life Force, for the PC Engine, I bought Salamander when I was at PAX, and like it runs butter smooth. It's such a smooth game to play, but it's also inherently different than Life Force in that you don't have a power bar that's Gradius style or anything like that. All of the power ups are dropped, and they are what they are on the screen when you pick them up.
Interesting.
Get whatever.
So is this the Famicom version we're talking about?
PC Engine.
Oh, PC Engine version.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
And
I love the look of the Famicom cartridge, though.
What's that?
I love the look of the Famicom cartridge, though.
Yeah, that transparent green is fantastic, isn't it? It's so good. Actually, the Famicom version is slightly different than even the NES version.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the power bar is quite a bit different on the bottom than in the US version.
Okay.
That'd be interesting to do a comparison for, I think. But
I've made it a few levels into Gradius 3. I got most of the way through Glaylancer, but never finished it. But I really did like Glaylancer.
Yeah, I want to get Glaylancer, but I think I missed the boat on that reprint. So
yeah. I thought about the reprint. I got it on Virtual Console, but yeah, sadly, the real version is a bit bit out of range. But something that I've never, and maybe I just need to force myself into the genre a little bit more. But like, I've never really understood why I'm so intimidated by shooting games.
I think a lot of it is because
much less so running guns, because I love running guns. I love Contra and stuff like that. Like I'm, even when they're difficult, I love them.
But those are just ups with gravity, though, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so it's like, you're still dodging bullets, and that is a gameplay element I really love. Like that's something that you don't see a lot of in 3D games. Like that's one of the things I've always appreciated about the Ratchet and Clank series is most 3D running gun games. Bullets are bang instant. Ratchet and Clank makes that dodging mechanic part of the gameplay just as it would be in a 2D game. And that's something I've always appreciated. I like the idea of dodging bullets. Yet, for some reason, if you're controlling a spaceship or an airplane instead of a dude with a spread shot, I'm like, oh, I don't know.
Actually, a shooting game that you might like that sort of have roots in, or maybe not roots, but definitely from the same team that makes running guns. You got to check out In the Hunt.
Oh yeah.
For,
okay.
Either Saturn or PS1, yeah.
Yeah, because they did Metal Slug.
Yeah, Nazca, right?
Yep.
The team behind that, yeah. They did a really good job on In the Hunt. I would say get the PlayStation version or play the PlayStation version because it's got less slowdown. But
I did a video on that like a long time ago.
Yeah,
and actually got lucky on getting the
like the jewel case
PS1 version for the non-long box version for a really good price.
Oh, nice!
Like before it really shot up.
Kind of expensive, yeah. Another game I was just watching a friend play Axelay.
Oh yeah.
And he got almost to the end.
It gets like really hard at the very end. Like that, there's like
he got almost to the end in only 2 attempts. That kind of gave me some confidence. Like, oh, maybe this won't be that tough. I love how that game looks. Like, it's such a neat looking game.
Oh, we got another $2 donation.
From DJ Incompetent. M2 Vid was slick. Thanks, sir, for still reviewing.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Hopefully, you're still watching.
Is it SerFlash or SerFlash?
SerFlash.
SerFlash.
Sorry.
That's all right. it sounded close enough. So, but no, it's derived from my original net handle, Seraxer.
That's why I was questioning whether I was saying it right.
So where does the original handle come from?
Just a like thrown together name, throw in some consonants, some vowels, and it worked.
that's how most of our internet names start at some point, right?
High school comic book characters, right? Like
yeah.
Yeah.
So when did you start making music? I mean, you've always been. Are you like more of a music person, you think, than game person? I mean, have you done more with music?
I mean, music's always been a really big part of my life. I was in the high school band and all that fun stuff. I started off playing trumpet, and the goal was always to get onto the drum set. And the only way that someone could get onto drums in that particular school was they had to master their instrument. And so I made damn sure to be real good at trumpet. And I went over to percussion. So that's pretty much where I stayed the rest of my high school life, was on percussion. After that, I basically found ways to create music in different ways. Like I started on like MTV Music Generator to get full compositions out. And cool. Then from there, I went to like GarageBand. And most recently, and this is as of like 2010, or even like 2009 or 2008, one of the two, I was using FL Studio, and I still use FL Studio today. So everything that you heard in the documentary was done in FL.
And that uses, I mean, it's something that I wasn't really too familiar with, is something called sound fonts. Is that?
No, these are not sound fonts. These are known as VSTs, or virtual sound tables.
Oh, okay.
And you can attach DAWs, which there's physical and virtual DAWs that you can use to manipulate and play the sound back in real time. In my case, I just sequence everything because it's quicker for me to draw music than to actually put it in through notation. And so, yeah, that's more or less the guts of the program that I use. But like sound fonts do exist. There is a sound font player built into FL, and if you load in your sound font, then you can take something that was sampled from another source. So like I had an NES sound font that was used in some of my really early stuff. And basically I graduated over from the NES sound font to just using something called 3OSC, which basically has three, like you can layer up to 3 oscillating waveforms on top of each other to get some pretty gnarly sound. I have one that sounds right out of Raiden 4 that I put together, so that's pretty cool. It's always going to sound better if you can generate the waveform directly than if you're just using a sample from some other place, because it's always going to sound the same if you've got the sample running through a font player, whereas with a generated wave, you can actually change the parameters of how it sounds. So with 3OSC, for example, I can change the pitch of the note with an oscillation wave, and I can make it as slow or as fast as I want, and I can make it as shallow or as sharp as I want. So I can give it this wild varying sound just by holding down one key, which you can't really do with the sound font per se. Not unless you've got something else like externally doing it. So it's actually kind of more work to use a sound font than to use a generated wave.
But it's a good way. It's a good way for people to start, I guess.
Yeah. What's good about FL2 is that there's something called Fruity DX10 built into it as well. And Fruity DX10 is basically FM sound, so you can really get some good gnarly Genesis sound out of it.
Does it have any relation to Fruity Loops? I remember Fruity Loops when I was in college.
That actually is FL is Fruity Loops, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just they just call it FL Studio now.
I think we missed a $10 donation from Vic, but it did not appear in the chat.
I think it was via PayPal. It said I think it said casual. I saw it say casual shmup talk. This is something I can get behind. Or it says casually talking on shmups, my favorite kind. Peace. Thank you from Vic. Thank you.
Yeah.
Did you ever submit any? I forget exactly what the website was called. I think it's still around. That
OC Remix.
Not OC Remix, but there was like the MIDI site. Like it was just MIDI files.
I think it was just
like
that.
It was just like video. I feel it was just like GameMusic.com.
It was something like that. Yeah, it's just MIDIs. Man, I remember. Jeez, we got another one. We got a.
Oh wow! Retroax donated 25. Wow, thank you. Keep up the good work, guys. I appreciate all the hard work and all you put into your videos. Take care. Thank you so much.
Dang, thank you. It was VG Music because when I was in high school,
I think that's it. I'm going to check out because I think they might have the same banner they've had since like 1998. Is it VGMusic.net?
I remember when I was in high school. I mean, we're talking
there it is.
I thought it was the coolest. I thought MIDIs were just the coolest thing.
I did too. Oh man,
so small. I used to put them on floppy disks and bring them home from downloading at school.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was like, I'm looking at it now. Like this side has like not changed since like
it's like a time capsule.
Yeah.
I wonder if new things gets added to it.
VGMusic.com. Changes last made November 21st, 2007. It says archive established on December 19th, 1996.
Cool.
Like I thought MIDIs were the coolest thing too because it was like it was just there was like in retrospect
they were enhanced versions of the game music. It felt like.
Yeah,
they weren't, but in a way it felt like they were.
Yeah. If you had the right sound card, they were.
I guess exactly. That's true. Like it was like in my mind though, it was just like, oh, it's like the music from the actual game, but it's different. So like I remember like I could just sit there like all day just like listening to these like, you know, kind of weird versions of all these game tunes. Oh, I ate it up.
Yeah, I thought it was fun. I would download versions of songs by like my favorite bands. So I had like a bunch of Smashing Pumpkins MIDIs that I thought was so cool. Like Tonight on in MIDI, and I thought it sounded so cool.
Someone in the chat was asking if we played Super Mario Land DX. You should cover this on RomHex video. We actually played it on the stream last week.
Yeah, and it will also be in the RomHex video.
It will be on that video. But remember, that video is going to be like not like...
It's not stupid hacks. It's not
stupid
RomHex.
I mean, it's not like original games made as a ROM hack or anything like that. It's more like utilitarian stuff.
Yeah.
So like that is an example of something where it's like it's basically preserving the original game, but you know, kind of giving it a leg up too, I guess.
Right. Like very much the the recently released Gradius SA1 hack is perfect for that. And you just did a video on Gradius 3, I believe. Did you? I watched like the first half of it. Did you get into the SA1 stuff at all in there?
No, we were just reviewing the original version of it. But SA1, I guess someone is doing an SA1 like physical mod right now.
Oh yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. I wonder if it's just going to make the game too hard though.
Probably.
Because it's, you know, it feels like it was made with a lot of that slowdown in mind. Just like, you know, I think a lot of people mistake, you know, the slowdown that you see in shooters as not intentional. But I mean, like a lot of the cave shooters, it's very much intentional.
Mm-hmm. Although I gotta say though, like with the Super Nintendo versions of these games, it's probably not that intentional. Mostly because, and you can sort of tell because it slows down as soon as you hit the fire button.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
In modern shooters like this that you know are made with so many years of knowledge of how these games work, and also the knowledge that slowdown can be part of it. Like, do you know if they're programmed like in such a way where, like, is there a function where they're like in the code that says slow down here, or is it really, are they really building it in as true hardware driven slowdown? That's a good question actually. I'm not 100% sure whether or not arcade games themselves have
hardware-driven slowdown. I imagine they probably do. I mean, you look at a game like Doranpachi's Saidai Ojo. That one didn't come out too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so the hardware that it would have been playing on would have been plenty powerful enough to move around 2D stuff like it was in that game.
Mm-hmm.
So probably, but I know with the like the console versions of a lot of these, they program in a wait mode, right? And you can either turn it off or you can enable it, or even enhance it. Give yourself a little more slowdown if you need it. In some cases, from what I understand. Gradius 3 is a good example of that, actually, where they added a wait mode where you could give it even more slowdown if you wanted to, or remove it entirely. That was on the PS2 version, I believe.
Okay.
It's always been interesting to me, and I'd like to like do research to sort of figure out where the change made, where it really sort of switched over to where, you know, in the old days, you know, too much for the system to handle, whole system slows down. The whole game simulation slows down. Whereas nowadays, that is considered very unusual. I mean, every once in a while you hear about a game that handles it that way, but for the most part, it drops frames instead of, if it can't render the next frame in time, rather than waiting.
I mean, in a lot of ways, I think that the games that probably slow down, they just decide, okay, we're going to throw so much stuff on screen right here, and it's going to slow down, and that's just the way it's going to be.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably not a lot of intricate thought that went into that kind of thing. They probably just had such a sense of, you know, what would happen at that point once they became so experienced making shooters.
Yeah.
Like, they probably just knew how to do it without, or knew what to throw on screen at that time to make it work the way, to have the flow that they would want to without giving it that much thought.
Compile was always good at making games that had a lot of junk on screen without much slowdown, though. That's a company that did a good job at that, at least, especially on systems you wouldn't expect to be able to run that quickly. So like, even the Super NES, everything that's on screen there is just running buttery smooth. So
yeah,
on a system that's not exactly known for speed, like Super LS, it's a good time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's cool. I'm excited to see what M2 does with their new Aleste game that they announced, because there's a lot of, one of the guys that we interviewed in the documentary, he talked a lot about the Sega stuff. Like, he's former Compile.
Really?
Yeah,
nice.
He worked on Space Megaforce, I mean, which is like Super Aleste. So I think there's people that are directly involved, like that were directly involved in the series. So it makes sense for them to be the ones that are doing this new version.
Yeah, that makes sense. Total sense.
So that's, I mean, yeah, basically he did that, and he did a bunch of the Puyo Puyo games.
The infamous divide between shmups and puzzles.
Yeah, well, they had to pay the bills, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Stuff they want to do, but I mean, it ended up being, made them a lot of money. I mean, at least for a time.
When we were in Japan, I developed a deep fascination with the sheer number of Puyo Puyo games that are out there, and they're all like dirt cheap. And so like I ended up buying just quite a few of them just because I'm like, this is interesting to me for reasons I cannot explain.
Okay, so what should I play next? If I'm going to play a Saturn shooter, what should I play? It really comes down to whether or not I have it on my system. But
well, we got $2 from Electric Underground. He says Slowdown and SDOJ, which I'm not sure what that is hardware driven, outdated PCB.
Oh.
I just noticed here that there was a question earlier for me. DJ Incompetent asks, Sarah, did you get that Akai Fire hardware controller for FL Studio? If so, did you like it? I did not, so I don't know. Something I might look into, though. I don't use a lot of physical stuff, though. I kind of wish that I did. It would make my setup look more impressive, definitely.
Okay, hang on. What I'll do is I'll ask the chat. I mean, I see some people saying, "Oh, do you have this game on the Saturn?" Let me just turn on the Saturn. Let's see what I got.
I guess the big question is Corey in the mood for something serious or silly?
That's always a good question. And of course, you're always happy to tell your Saturn. What year is it? What year is it?
What?
Ooh, Japanese Saturn, nice.
I said your Saturn. Saturn always has to say what year is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Your aspect ratio is.
I saw a really funny.
Your
post.
16:9 is showing.
I saw a really funny post on. I just gotta reset the thing here. Hang on. Why is it not? Oh, let's do this.
Aspect ratio.
There it is. I gotta rearrange myself now. I saw a really funny post on the CRT collective on Facebook that says someone posted some screenshots of like their new PC engine and everything was stretched to fill the 16:9, and it was someone said we gotta talk about your aspect ratio.
You need to move your camera.
Yep, I'm working on it.
Yeah, I thought it was fun to hear, because we in the M2 documentary. I mean, it was it was fun because we're kind of equipped to ask them some of the somewhat technical questions at least. Okay. So we were asking questions that other people maybe wouldn't have been asking them. We were asking stuff about aspect ratios and 240p and all that kind of stuff. It's interesting to hear them drop just straight up English phrases in the middle of their talking. Aspect ratio.
All right. So I saw some people saying play Shienryu. So I guess that's what we'll do.
Oh yeah. Okay. Do this.
We're also really happy to see that there was quite a bit of Japanese language engagement with the
yeah.
Like on Twitter, even in our comments, and we also found that it was posted on IGN Japan, which I didn't know there was an IGN Japan.
I remember
so
seeing.
we were really glad that we got those Japanese subtitles for it.
The title screen
typically
we
don't have a very big Japanese audience at all normally.
Uh-oh. Whoops.
Your tate's showing.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Was it
let me see if I can...
It's not interlaced now, is it?
It was on the title screen.
It was.
I thought maybe I changed it to arcade mode. That messed it up probably. So I can reset it here. Oh, I guess we'll just do that.
Yeah, as many PVMs as we have, like you should just set
one of them sideways.
One of yours up as a tate.
I know.
I mean, why not?
Just chucking on its side. Way you go.
All right. I think I may have selected the arcade mode, and that's why it appeared like that. Okay. No, it's set this. No, I mean it should work. I mean that should be. Don't change, please don't change. Okay, there we go.
Hey.
Let's do this. Uh-oh.
So this game was also released on PlayStation as Gekio Shooting King.
Is it expensive?
No, not from what I understand.
But this
got a North American release. This one is getting up there, yeah.
There's a call in the chat for cotton.
Ah, okay. I thought
that's an expensive one.
Yeah, I really want Cotton 2 because that's the one I played the most, I guess.
Everyone keeps saying that Boomerang is the B's and E's, but I don't know.
That's pretty cool that there's a new one coming, or is it a remake or something?
I don't know. I didn't notice whether or not it was just like a complete like restart or what do they call those?
A reboot.
Yeah, a total reboot or not, right?
What's your opinion on for in the case of a vertical shooter, when you like this one where you move to the side, that like the screen can pan a little bit, and then also for a vertical shooter, where it can go up and down a little bit. Do you think that? I feel like it creates a nice sense of depth that looks really cool, but from a gameplay perspective, I guess I just haven't really played enough to make a decision about that. Like,
you noticed just there that as Corey was going to the right, that one bullet like flew in straight in from the right, nearly clipped him. That's one of the drawbacks to something where you can't see off to the side.
Absolutely.
The ones that go forward and back a little too, oftentimes that was put in as a stopgap for players that wanted more detail out of the game, but didn't want to rotate their TVs. So like a game like Gunbird, for example, had that mode where when you flew forward, the screen would also scroll, and if you moved back, it would move back with you. But there were limits to how far up or down you could go. When you play it in Tate or in the scaled down version, it doesn't do that. So, but yeah, the side to side is a lot more common. A lot of cave games do it as well. It all depends on how they've structured their game, really. And how cheap they want to be with killing players with stealth shots, right?
Yeah, I could definitely see it as potentially being a gameplay drawback, but like visually, I feel like it's a nice effect. It just sort of
absolutely, yeah, no question.
It helps create the illusion, I feel, of that there is distance between the ship and the background. It makes it feel like more like it. It's not quite like parallax, but it almost serves a similar function in my eyes.
It's parallax.
I don't know if I can. Someone's saying I can change the language of my system. I should sometime. I'm just gonna play something else, but I gotta get up and reset. I didn't realize that I thought I could go back to the menu this way. Hang on.
Game stato. I gotta say, I really do prefer the startup sound of the Japanese Saturn versus the North American one.
No, I mean the logo too. Like, who thought that logo needed to be redesigned? Like, who?
I think it's
like the American logo is like it's not that good.
It kind of exists in the Japanese packaging, but I like the stylized S on the Saturn there. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's really the font though that says Sega Saturn. I just like that font, like on the American one.
This might sound a little sacrilegious to all those shooting game fans out there, but I actually kind of like the Dreamcast a little more, just a bit.
More. What do you mean, the system overall?
Yeah, no? I gotta say, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly have more Dreamcast games than Saturn games myself. I do not have very many Saturn games, but I feel like what I like about the Dreamcast is it's weird. Like, there are just a lot of weird games on it.
Yeah, I mean, Space Channel 5. What?
Yeah,
such a good game. I love that game.
That's a game I cannot play whatsoever, but I like watching people play it.
Hey, you need a snappy monitor for that. What would you in here? Hyperdual?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've always wanted this one, but I always miss the boat.
It is. It's like $600 or something stupid.
Yeah, it's up there. We're trying to get Harmful Park, and it's one or the other, right? Yeah,
you were saying that's you're saving money for that, for all the. Speaking of that, we should talk about the soundtrack a little bit. I mean, you for all the sales of the soundtrack that you're getting, which is available on your Bandcamp. you're saving that money to be able to buy a copy of Harmful Park, which is is a shooter for the PS1, Japan only, correct? And it's pretty expensive. I don't really know too much about it, but I mean, there's a lot of people that are really,
I don't know a ton about it either, but I kind of want to figure it out, right? We've had so many people say, "When are you doing Harmful Park?" And I'm like, when I've got enough to pay my rent and pay my rent again. But
I will say that's a great name for a video game, though.
Yeah,
Harmful Park. Sounds like a good band name too. I don't know.
This game with the robot guy.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome, I think. I mean, it'd be cool if this got re-released for something.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's Technosoft, so Sega would technically own this, or they just own everything of Technosoft.
Technosoft?
Yeah, I mean they must, because I mean Herzog's Why is coming out for the on Sega Ages. So.
I need to get that game.
Herzog's Why is awesome.
Thunder Force 6 was also published by Sega as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it had Thunder Force. I think it had Technosoft branding as well. But yeah, that came out like well after the perceived dissolution of Technosoft proper.
Right.
So yeah, I would say that they probably own Technosoft in general. You ever play that game Q10 Kai? That's also Technosoft.
Mm-mm.
The fantasy pinball. That's pretty good stuff.
I was just talking about recently. I almost bought it last weekend at the Cincy Classic convention here. Is Hellfire for the Genesis.
Yeah.
Like I know it's not Technosoft. It's really not related at all to what we were talking about. But that is a game that when I was young, I had it, and I had decided at some point that it was the hardest game that I've ever played, and I never felt like I could do very good in it. And then I played it recently on the as we were doing the Mega SG video, and suddenly I like beat the first level without dying, and I was like, this is not that hard really. So I decided that like maybe I can just get this demon off my back and see if I could beat it. But then the game is like it's like $100 now, $150. I'm like,
that's unreal.
Yeah.
How much was it at the?
It was 120 there.
Oof.
That's steep.
Yeah. But I wonder if the Japanese version is not that bad. I don't know. Maybe it's not.
Yeah, no. When I bought our copy in 2010, I managed to get it for like $20 on eBay.
Whew.
Not like Troubleshooter. Troubleshooter was probably our best buy, I think, because that one's getting up there now too.
Oh yeah, that one's really expensive.
We got it for $1.
Well, I mean, I can understand why there was a point where it wasn't considered to be like that great, because like the cover art on it is atrocious for one thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's very unassuming. You would not expect it to be considered a good game. I mean, I know that I would have never thought that it was a good game.
We made fun of the cover on several occasions actually before picking it up. Then when you play it though, you're like, holy cow, where's this been all my life? It's a great game.
I mean,
go on.
No, I was just gonna say, I wonder like what how much the Japanese version of Hellfire goes for, because now I kind of really want to see if I can beat it.
Well, I don't know. See,
I mean, I don't even know what the Japanese version is called.
It's called Hellfire.
Oh.
Hellfire.
Speaking of Japanese versions, like, are there what is your opinion, or what do you think is the community's general opinion on? I believe a lot of shooting games have a lot of changes made between Japanese and international releases? Is it kind of a mixture on whether the changes are preferred or not preferred, or?
Well, I know a lot of people complain about censorship with various aspects of the presentation. Most notably recently would be Clarice's fourth bomber picture in Game Paradise Cruise Mix Special.
Oh, in the Japanese version they censor it, or is it censored in the US version?
In the US version.
Okay.
Yeah, they took out one of them because it was a little racy, a little. There was, it was a cheerleader outfit, and she was like jumping into the air, and her top was fluttering up a little bit. There was a bit of underboob, but they axed it. What's weird though is that the fifth bomber has like this car driving right between her legs, so they left that in. We felt that was a little more a little more questionable, but yeah, that's the one they chose to take out, and people were up in arms. Were like, "Why are you censoring our games?"
we got 199 from Kiwi in the chat. Says really appreciate the stream and guests tonight.
Nice.
Thank you.
One of my favorite things about the Bullet Heaven show is that it really feels like a shooter demo. The whole interface of it, like really just feels like very shooter-esque. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm sure like that's probably the look that you're going for.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm trying to think of where we really started to put stuff into the series for like an interface. I guess it would have been Series 3, I think, where we started putting overlays and stuff into our productions, and like I always put in hexagons because shmups have mad hexagons.
Yes,
right?
That's true. That is
mad
true.
Hexagons, and like drilled metal, right? Reduce the weight of your ship, sort of thing, right? There was drilled metal in the the Series 3 stack up overlay and stuff.
When you start doing that, you probably start really thinking about
like how many more hexagons can I put into this? More hexagons, more shmup. But and then like with Series 4, we started playing around with the Series 4 logo was fun because it was just one feather instead of a wing, and then like the swoosh for the jet made the number 4 in the title. And then we started messing around like with the we call it the info screen, where it shows you like the title, who it was published by, what platform it's on, and so forth, right? Direction it scrolls and this and that. But like the first time we did an overlay or a real overlay for that, we made like a door system that just kind of went in like that. And then it would open up slightly, and then all the information would be there again, and it would slam shut again, and it would go to the next part of the video. But for Series 5, we did something like that, and it was 3 parts to the door, so we were really starting to get creative with that. And when it slammed shut, there was like a red light that went through the door cracks, and it made a V for 5. So little things like that, right?
But that's fun. That had to be like really fun to make,
Yeah. That's always the hardest part, though, for our series, is coming up with the template to use for a whole nother year. It's been different every year. Theme song is always different. The stack up screen is always different. Although this time around we sort of templated it. The logo uses a font. We paid for the rights to a font, and like we've got the wing that we've been using since like Series 7 or something like that. And it's becoming more stable, we'll say. We just kind of redid the info screen this time around. It's the same general shape, but now there's different animated bits in it. So like there's these red X's that pulsate for Roman numeral 10. And the end screen is pretty similar too. Like it's all laid out exactly the same, except the background is different. Last year in Series 9, we went for like a 1980s synthwave kind of feel. And then this year it's just basically like a scanned line CRT, and it's got like a soft glow that pulsates over a long period of time. So yeah, I think when Series 11 inevitably happens, the logo will look the same. The background will be slightly different. The info screen will be similar as well. And the end screen is probably going to be more or less the same, except, something else is going to be flashing in the background. But I might keep the scan lines. I don't know. We'll see.
Something in the documentary that got a lot more interest and traction in the comments than... before I get into that. So we got $2 from Show saying, great chat while I repair some NES games.
Nice.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I wonder how what kind of repairs are needed on these NES games.
That's Ziff, though. Am I right? Come on. Achilles heel of the original NES.
But I was gonna say one thing that caught me off guard with the comments on the documentary. Of course, me not being... I'm sure Corey had an idea of the impact of this soundbite when you put it in there, but it totally flew over my head.
I'm getting like no, it's okay. Like the game was like freaking out for a second. Wow, it's like
you got a black screen.
I know, but it's like going crazy on my PVM here.
I wonder if it's a Phoebe thing.
I don't know. Hang on a second. I'm just gonna see what's going on here for a second.
All right. It was too much to handle.
It is, but I mean, you can keep out.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Well, what I was gonna say was, I was caught off guard by the comments that when Hori mentions that, one of the ideas that we suggested to Sega was a port of R-Type Leo to the Mega Drive. There were so many oh my gosh, there could have been R-Type Leo. That just totally flew over my head as a passing comment. I did not appreciate the impact or missed opportunity that I guess that was, but that comment got a lot of traction. But there was one...
I mean, I'll be honest, I was one of those people. I was like, what?
There was one comment that said, R-Type Leo is aesthetically amazing, but from a gameplay perspective, not that great. But everyone else was like, we were so close.
I remember that this game for some reason has that happens for some reason in this, with this system. I don't know why. It's happened before though. I think someone was asking for Parodius earlier. I think I have the Parodius. Oh yeah.
If you're gonna play Parodius, it's got to be Jikyo Shiberi.
Is it on the Parodius Deluxe pack? Is it in there?
No, it's the one that came after that one, but that's a decent one too.
But yeah, the R-Type Leo thing. I mean, I knew that it was gonna get some people interested, because I like it because it's kind of this kind of a random thing you would not expect to hear, I guess. In there.
Yeah.
What's preferred, Fantastic Journey or just Parodius?
No, this is the PAL release. Neat.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
No. Running at 60 hertz, I assume.
I guess, yeah. It looks okay to me. Weird. I mean, that's just I probably got it from someplace. Interesting, though.
I've played some PS1 version of this, but I can't remember.
Yeah, I have the Japanese PS1 version of this.
I think I borrowed it from someone.
These were all on PS1 as well, though, right? So
yeah. You gotta use the is it Hikaru? She rides the missile.
Carrot shots for the win.
But I knew that people
come on, please join in.
Not used to that. I'm used to just seeing the Japanese over there.
But I knew that the R-Type Leo stuff was gonna get people interested, just in a weird kind of way. But I think the reaction to it was a little bit more than I was expecting. Because it's just like a weird little tidbit, I guess.
Yeah.
That people would not normally think of. There's the carrot shot.
I'm not a huge fan of R-Type. Again, more sacrilege, right?
Oh, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I like the first one. I did get the Dimensions, though. I'm looking forward to playing it.
Yeah. It was that on Switch that you got it, or?
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked R-Type Final, though. I did enjoy that one. I found my old game save for that. We played it on stream one time. And I was looking through, there's like a built-in achievement system before achievements were kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. And one of the achievements was beat the game on normal without dying. And somehow I had done it.
You're like, I don't remember doing this. It was so difficult that you just totally blocked it out, I guess.
I don't consider myself an expert in any sort of sense of the word when it comes down to gameplay, but like when I saw that, I was like, when? When did that happen?
When did I have time?
I don't remember this at all.
That's exactly why we're working on the episode we are about save preservation.
Yeah, that's gonna be that's not gonna be out next week, but it's gonna be out in I guess 3 weeks from today.
Probably 2 weeks after next week. Yeah. Because next week, next Sunday, we're planning to release the Shot Triggers Q&A. So people watching this stream will probably be very interested in that.
Yeah. I mean, this is by no means a typical episode. It's just kind of like this cool content that I think people will be interested in. It's
nicely edited, but like we aren't in it at all. I kind of think of it as almost as an Iwata Asks, except Iwata is a screen of white text that has the question on it.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool. If you like shooters and stuff and you're interested in like how M2 like approached making like their version of Battle Garaga, I think that you're going to think it's pretty cool. I'm just like 30,
it's really neat.
37 minutes, I think.
Yeah, I'm super happy with how it turned out because for such a spur-of-the-moment thing, like when we went in, that was the last day we were at M2.
And it is important to state that probably 98% of the stuff that's in this is not in the documentary at all. Like, I mean, there is a couple of clips from that interview session at the very end of the M2 documentary, but there is not, like, all this stuff is going to be completely new, basically, except for like 2 or 3 sound bites in the entire thing. And this is like a 37-minute piece, so it's going to be all new stuff. But I mean, if you're interested in the kind of the development, the history of Battle Garaga, and especially I think it's very humorous as they try to explain the scoring system of Battle Garaga. Which is notably, or is like notable for being very difficult to understand. At least at the time it was, but now that people have figured it out, they understand it more. But I think that people, if they liked it, this is a good another piece of information that people are going to enjoy.
Yeah. And I wanted to veto it at first when the developers were like, "Oh, we want to do it as a group," and I was like, "Oh, that's not going to look good." But it actually, or sound good. But like, we spent about an hour to like get the camera shots and the audio set up, and the background, just right, and it actually turned out really good. I'm glad I was talked into it. Because I was like, no, I just want to do one-on-one interviews, but it turned out great. So I think I'll be interested
to see if like what the reaction is to it. Like, I mean, not so much on the channel. It's more of a thing that I guess we thought, people are going to buy Battle Garaga. This is the kind of thing they're going to be interested in.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think that, like as I see the Electric Underground says that the STG community plays Japanese version 99% of the time. I think that like those are the kind of people, like the shooting game community are going to be the ones that really get a lot out of it. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I don't imagine it's going to be like this huge thing on our channel.
No, it won't be, but that's okay. I mean, it's just it's a fun thing for a very specific audience, and it makes me want to do more things like it in the future. Like if we were in a similar situation in the future, like yeah, I'd like to do a normal documentary, but I'd also like to do just a fun bonus thing like that as well. It's just added value content for whom it may concern.
I feel so bad, like shooting her with carrots. Yeah, Electric Army.
For some reason, I saw that Shooting Game Community plays Japan versions 99% of the time. I saw that, but I didn't. I didn't notice the $2 associated with it.
Oh no, the $2 just happened. Like it was, he said it and then reset it.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you.
Hey, when you're collecting power-ups there, Corey, when you get to the spot where the options normally are, see if when you press the button to select, if your options change formation.
All right. Is it the O, you think? Is it O?
Oh, no. O will actually make you go back down to base. So you don't want that.
Oh.
That's a penalty in this. Oh.
That's something that we joke about sometimes. Is like sometimes you just see like random OH exclamation mark in Japanese stuff. Like there's that I think it's a Namco light gun game just called like Byakyun or whatever. I don't know what the word is, but it's like Byakyun. Oh.
I like that. That's funny. The stuff that says no sushi tonight. Teeth in me soup. It says teeth in me soup. That's funny.
I'm sure these are British localizations.
I wonder if they are, but they're pretty good if they are.
I feel like teeth in me soup is probably like. I bet it's like some famous like news report or something where they interviewed someone and he was like, and then there was teeth in me soup.
I kind of wanted to see that again. I got too excited about what it was saying that I
teeth in me soup. Teeth in me soup. Like wasn't there some like. Wasn't there some like I think it turned out to not be real, but wasn't there something like several years ago? Oh, you're just eating those cookies.
Yeah, well, weren't you?
Nom nom mode.
like a biomiracle, crawling through the cake.
I've played surprisingly little Parodius, but I do have the PS1 version of this. I found it locally. Man, and now I'm like getting crushed. Please continue.
I can't remember if I finished the PS1.
I'm going to be the flying pig Michael.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna
the Archangel is a pig.
Yeah, it's
neat.
It's Michael. That's just his name, Michael.
The hitboxes vary between characters?
Probably. I mean, some characters it's probably more difficult to play as than others.
It's actually pretty balanced. I found that I think it's Koitsu or Doitsu or whatever his name is, that weird stick guy that flies around the paper plane. He's pretty powerful, but he also has a weird shield. It basically just looks like a condom.
Just basically.
Oh yeah, there's no way around it. That's.
So you don't do your show by yourself. I mean, is it your wife that does it with you, or I'm not sure if you. Oh, bed and breakfast. Sorry, no reverse gear. Sorry, I'm just excited about this. Lock me, baby. Huh? Garlic breath? Sorry. But yes, Your wife does the show with you.
She does, yeah. She's actually here with me.
Oh, cool.
Say hi.
Hello.
There she is.
Hi there.
We're still wired up from last night's streams.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So we've been doing the in Series 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess her first episode was like episode 32 or something along those lines. I think it was Sky Destroyer, whatever it was. Yeah.
Do you guys write it together? Or I mean, I like that because it's like formatted in a way that's like, oh, you know, it's a 2-player game. You know. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Anytime that a game is 2-player, 2 or more player, I guess, Dairuna will be on as the second player in the footage, and we will trade off paragraphs in the script.
That's cool. I mean, that's such a good way to do it.
It's the perfect genre for it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think Day is a great litmus for how good a shoot 'em up is for newcomers.
Mm-hmm.
Because while she doesn't like to admit it, she's better than she lets on at these games. Her favorite shoot 'em up is Ikaruga. It's true.
Yeah.
She doesn't let on that she's very good at these games, but she's better than she thinks. However, if she says to me, you know, this was one that I could really get into, or if I notice that she's doing particularly well, that to me tells me that it's great for beginners because she doesn't have quite as much game time in the genre as I do.
Right.
But she still enjoys doing the show, or at least I think she does. What say you?
That's good. You know, having a second person to bounce off, you know, for when doing a show like makes such a huge difference. And it just makes it so much. And it's fun to edit more too when you have somebody to go back and forth with. It makes it more interesting to edit.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You don't get sick of listening to yourself forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man.
Do you find that after, you know, having become numb to the idea of listening to yourself, like everyone who is not used to hearing recordings of their own voice is always like, that doesn't sound like me at all. like at some point, like it became not weird to hear myself anymore.
Well, this might sound a little odd, but I did a lot of audio recording as a kid, so I was kind of numb to it from a very early age, and it was just something that I did. I do theoreticals. I would like talk shows, right, with imaginary folk, and I do the voice for them as well, sort of thing, right? So when I was 7 or 8 years old, that's what I used to do, and I guess it was a logical step to be able to narrate stuff like Bullet Heaven or anything else on YouTube for that matter.
Yeah, I mean,
I would say that speaking into a microphone is very second nature to me.
I mean, it's not as second nature to me, I guess. I mean, because I'm definitely more of a behind the scenes guy. I mean, I made movies with my friends in high school, and I played a role in them, but I would never consider myself an actor. But I guess we still, even though we did that a lot, we still didn't do it enough to completely normalize it to me. Mm-hmm. So, it was still a little weird hearing myself so much, when we started the show. But, like I say, at some point, the voice in the recording didn't sound any different than the voice in my head anymore.
Yeah.
The only difference is it's much easier for me to be scripted than unscripted. I mean, for both of us, we're talking off the top of our heads is not our strong suit.
Yeah, I would say
I love that. That one, it's just the words coming out of our heart are the funniest thing that I've heard in a very long time. That one just said, "Noted, thanks." Noted, comma, thanks.
Over a megaphone. Yeah. Noted, thanks.
Sorry, I just think it's really funny. I wonder, it's probably not like that in the Japanese version, but I mean that makes.
I'm sure they say similarly funny stuff. They probably just, I'm sure they just localize it to be random stuff that would be funny to British people.
There's probably a bunch of these that are sort of just literally translated. So the impact isn't quite the same, but like in Japanese, the language has like all kinds of auditory puns.
Mm-hmm.
Like Breath of Fire 2 is actually a good example of this. When you're playing through Breath of Fire 2, and I don't know if this requires a spoiler alert or not.
Which apparently has a really bad American English translation.
Oh
yeah, it's not fantastic. It's barely localized. Anyway, when you're trying to get out of, there's this town that you're trying to get out of with this character named Bo, who's a dog, right?
How far I get.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to stuff him into a garbage can. So you got this garbage can following you around, and you got to get him out of town without being detected. And the guard comes up to you. He's like, "Hey, what have you got there?" And there's three choices that come up. It's what is it? Bo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is just you just sort of like give him up right then and there. And then there's what is it? Garbage, and then comic book. Or maybe it's just garbage and comic book. It's one of the two. But garbage and comic book in Japanese are very close to each other. It's just it's a difference of one tiny nuance in one of the characters. So comic would be komi and garbage is gomi.
That's pretty funny.
And so yeah, that was completely lost. But and for a long time I was like, what? This is so obvious. But like it would be a lot less obvious in the original Japanese.
See, something I've always wondered about in terms of like Japanese games and puns and wordplay is I've always heard that Dragon Quest is written to be very simple. Like it's apparently not that hard to play Dragon Quest in Japanese if you don't have like a master level understanding of the language. But the English localizations, like the old ones, of course use the ye old English, but like the modern ones have tons of puns and wordplay and stuff like that. And I've always been unclear if the Japanese ones do too, because in my mind, I would think if it does have all the puns and wordplay that the English versions do, then to me that would actually be very difficult to read in Japanese, I would think.
Oh yeah, exactly. Like if you didn't know what to expect out of it, right?
Right. So yeah,
I
just don't know to what extent that applies.
If you had even a rudimentary understanding of Japanese, you probably wouldn't get the nuance behind it. It's kind of like English idioms. A lot of foreigners don't get, that's what she said, for example. That's a phrase that doesn't hold much weight in other languages.
Well, I mean, that's what localization is for. I mean, you might not tell the same joke, but you can come up with an equivalent joke that fits the moment.
Yeah, exactly. Although knowing that it's easier to sort of go through Dragon Quest makes me kind of want to play Dragon Quest 5 and 6 now.
Yeah, I mean, I know, basically know Japanese. I mean, I certainly can't read any Japanese. Although I want to change that. I've kind of got in my head that I want to make an effort. Maybe after I get some of the current projects off my plate.
Just grab that Mario Paint manual, right?
But yeah, I mean, I really want to. I've got a bunch of Super Famicom carts, but I've mostly been playing to play fan translated versions. But there's still like this nagging feeling of, but that's I want to use my real cartridge.
I bought a copy of. What is it? Tenchi Sojo? Sojo, I think. Yeah, Terranigma, right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And basically, I started playing through that at one point, and
very good game.
Yeah, going through one of the dungeons, there's a spirit there, and he's like, "I've been here forever. My body is completely turned to dust, and I'm doomed to stay in this tower forever." I'm like, "Oh damn."
Oh yeah. I mean, it's kind of a depressing game. I mean, like all their games have like this. Like a lot of stuff about dying and that kind of stuff, like Soul Blazer and Illusion of Gaia. And
it's phenomenal. It was a great game.
Yeah, it's really fun to play. It's just such a good evolution. It's basically a perfection of that style.
I've never been able to get into Illusion of Gaia, even though like
you should give it another chance. I bet you'd like it.
I feel like I've given it 2 chances.
Oh.
But maybe I'll give it a third. Actually, I might have only given it 1 chance. I gave it 1 chance, now I watched a friend play a good bit of it.
But there's
like,
this...
I like the vibe of it. I like what it stands for, but like the gameplay, I've just never quite gotten into.
There's a big thing.
Paradigma looks awesome though. Like I really want to play it.
There's a big thing about the like the directors of those games. I think I may have talked about it before about how they they just disappeared one day and nobody knows where they are. And
really?
Yeah, they disappeared and they just nobody knows if they're still alive or if they're dead or because all the people that would know like refuse to like say. So they just like disappeared.
That's both intriguing and very scary.
Yeah. I can't remember what their names are, but I mean, it was like there's been reports like people like maybe seeing them someplace, but nobody can say for sure.
Am I right in thinking that they're related to the people that did the original E's?
Yeah. Or
the same people?
Yeah. They worked on E's 1 and 2.
Huh.
I can't remember what their names are. Like, I mean, it would be an awesome documentary, but I mean,
also horrified.
Well, I mean, like, clearly they don't want to be found if they are still alive. Like, clearly, like, they are done with whatever they wanted to do, and it's like, it's almost like it's wrong to try to find them. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't remember what their names are, but it's 2 guys. But yeah, I mean, it's very interesting. I mean, I think that like the
the Quartet guys still around, or
the Quartet guys, or Quintet?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, that's who it is. It's Quintet.
Oh, okay. So same guys then.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Miyazaki and Hashimoto. Yeah, Lil Bud in the chat is saying. I mean, if you look it up, Try. Why don't you look up something on it real quick, just so you can read about it, like how they're nobody knows where they are.
Let's see.
I'll
Google where.
Where the hell are they?
Where are?
I feel really bad, like shooting this mermaid in the face with the. Makes me think of I mean, I wonder if the one boss in Shantae Half Genie Hero was at all inspired by this boss.
There's a good chance.
Because you know what I'm talking about, right? You know the one boss in
Giga Mermaid.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the design is very similar.
It's very similar. Yeah. Right down to the ears. Huh.
The Quintet has not been active since the 2000 and is likely defunct. And I know that Quintet became Shade, I think, and they are the ones that made the Grand Stream Saga. But yeah. I don't know if it was the same team, because I know Grand Stream Saga is like considered a kind of unofficial entry in the Gaia series.
I'm not really finding the information at a glance, but I feel like the next story like that could end up being Treasure.
Yeah, well, Treasure's just the one guy now. It's just they're doing like mobile things, but I think that there's no actual employees at Treasure. It's just
yeah, I'm sure it's just an IP holding, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still like the main guy. I can't remember. I don't know why I can't think of his name right now.
Treasure in name only.
Yeah. You know, you were talking about Ikaruga earlier. I think that a kind of big moment to understanding the possibilities of shooters like, I grew up playing them, but I'd never seen anything of high level play. But I always remember seeing that video of Ikaruga of one person playing the two players.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about? I mean, it's like he plays both players at the same time, and he's just like using one hand per controller, and it's just like this insane thing. Just that was just like kind of the moment of seeing like, well, there's there's obviously like so much more to understanding these games than I ever thought was possible.
So like the Raiden games, like Raiden 3, Raiden 4, and I think even Raiden 5, you can control both ships with one controller.
Oh, okay.
So like one the left hand side does player 1, right hand does player 2. Your shoulder buttons do your bombs and shots. But that melts my brain. I always get mixed up when they cross over each other. I'm not very good at that style of play, to be 100% honest.
I have a feeling like not many people are. It's just amazing that that there is anybody that can be.
Like that level of play, though, with the Ikaruga dual play is just insane. Like, he knew how to use both ships to shield each other from the shots that were happening at like all angles. It was kind of unreal.
And the thing is that video, like, it came out, like, the game wasn't even that old.
No.
At that point.
I mean, it looks like it was filmed on it.
I mean, that's learning to play a completely different game than everyone else is playing.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Are you watching the video now or something? Did you look it up or
what?
something?
Oh, no. But I mean, I'm just going based on how you said it.
Oh, have you ever seen it before?
No.
Oh.
I mean, but I can very well envision what it's like.
Yeah, there's nothing quite like it. At least at the time, there wasn't. I don't remember seeing anything that's been like that.
Was it the Dreamcast version?
No, it was the arcade.
Oh, okay.
I mean, well, I guess they're basically exactly the same anyways, but... Because I think that was built on Naomi, I think. But I can't say for sure. The music in this is really good, too. It's all this...
Yeah, this one had really good music.
So a lot of the other music you've done, I mean, on your Bandcamp, I mean, do we want to... we had mentioned something about doing codes. Is there
oh, yeah.
Do you want to do something like that?
Sure, let me write something in the chat here.
Sure.
Yeah, you're you should probably handle that because
get your
we have no idea how to properly do do those kind of things. I'm sure you do it all the time.
So so as we explained earlier, there is a soundtrack on SerFlash's Bandcamp that has all the music that was featured in the documentary, except for the specific game music, I guess. You know, there's a little bit of Battle Garaga music in there, and maybe some like Neo Geo Station music here and there, but for the most part, it is like the entire thing, and it is available on his Bandcamp for $4 for 20 tracks, actually.
20 tracks, yeah. 16 of them can be listened to, but there's 4 of them that are remixed arrangements of what was used in the documentary to give people that already bought all these songs in previous albums a little more value. So, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put this in the chat and get your copy and paste ready. And that's the address that you want to redeem.
Here we go.
These at.
All right. So right. Okay.
Just to test here, I'm going to go ahead and drop the first one in, and first one to get it gets it. There it is.
Does it let you know when they've been redeemed?
No. Well, it does, but I'd have to open up another window, so whatever.
Dude, the fish. I will it. That's cool. I think this is the first giveaway has ever been on our live stream before. Oh.
Oops, sorry about that. Yeah, it looks like someone got it.
Nice. So, Low Bud got it.
Nice. Plenty more. Don't worry. Plenty more. Someone just got Ghostblade. There's only 100 of those that are going to be available. So you are lucky. You're going to have something that not many people are going to have in life. So
That's right. So is that's not available to purchase?
That's not available to purchase. That's from my own special reserve.
Oh.
No. All right. Let me go to the other codes here. Oh wait, no, it's a different screen. Bear with me.
Was it?
I can do this.
Was it intentional in the opening credits that you put SerFlash's music credits on the same screen as the dancing girl?
Yeah. What's really funny is someone commented on the video saying
I saw that
about how the girl. That's the first thing we shot when we got to Japan. When we went out.
Oh really?
Was it?
She just like was performing when we took the camera in to just like shoot some like nightlife stuff. Like that was the first day that we were there.
It was in Akihabara. It was right in front of the Yodobashi camera in Akihabara.
Right. But apparently she's performing there, and it says there's a sign that says like no public performance or something like that.
That's what someone said. I'd like a second opinion, but I thought that was funny. But the funny thing was, like before that, the comment said who's the street performer at this point in the video? It's like,
yeah.
Why would we even know? I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't have any problem with us like shooting video, so it was. I mean, sure
there was just okay. A bunch of people there watching her.
Hopefully she didn't get in trouble, because if she's like that got out there now, hopefully it didn't.
Yeah, I mean, if if that guy was trying to turn her in, like we're not going to give you her name even if we did know.
People are getting the codes. Nice.
This boss is great.
Oh, it's just like shooting power-ups. That's fun. So the idea is that you don't want to stop on the O, right? Or is that
exactly? Yeah, especially if you've got the roulette going.
Right. So that's funny.
So wait, can this thing even hurt you?
I can, yeah.
If
eventually.
You touch it?
I don't know. I didn't touch it.
And then away he goes. Nice.
That's so people got the codes. That's awesome. That's very cool.
All right, I'll drop more later.
Gotta spread them out.
Yeah.
Like now.
You gotta get people when they're least expecting.
Got you off guard.
But the remixes are really cool. They're more gamey sounding. They're more like chiptune-y, I thought.
Yeah, well, I added some synth wave to it as well. Okay. Which is one guy in one of our streams called it flash wave, and it kind of stuck. So
that's cool. I mean, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Jeff O asks, "Is Ser like Sir?" So it can be like Flash Sama. I mean, you can do Flash Sama if you want.
And your credit at the beginning of the documentary has a. There was something you kind of requested, like a title that you wanted to put in.
Musical Chosenshi SerFlash, which is musical super soldier.
That's fun, though, you know?
Yeah.
I remember you were like, "Oh, you can put this in if you want." I'm like, "I can make that. I can make that work."
I didn't think you'd do it at first. Yeah.
Well, hopefully you don't regret it.
We are all about crediting people the way they want to be credited.
I'm actually going to be revamping my page header on the music site there for musical super soldier instead of the 8-bit meteor.
Noted. Thanks.
No parking here.
Give me soup.
Teeth in me soup. Can we make that a thing for the show?
Teeth in me soup.
Yeah, I feel like that needs to be a thing.
I'm kind of puzzled by the fact that when she removed the fan from her face, like it was just a normal face. Like, I mean, this is Parodius. There should be something wildly unexpected under there.
Well, she's looks like. There you go.
Oh, okay. So she's
just a like a cardboard cutout.
box.
Doof, doof, doof.
Oh, this is a Gradius level here. I mean, the whole game is basically, but I'm just saying like, this is obviously like inspired by the.
This is recognizable.
Yeah. Yeah, because we got the Moai. Is it the Moai heads?
Oh yeah.
They got sunglasses on.
The dreaded Moai.
I'm not really sure though. I mean, I do recognize this scene from Gradius, but I'm not.
Well, I mean, the game like this level is it's just like the flames and the heads.
Right. I mean, the flame. Well, that's what I mean. The flames on the top and bottom. But to be honest, I'm not really sure what. I mean, what is that supposed to represent? Like
the flame?
If it was only on the top or only on the bottom, like I'd believe that you were like flying next to the sun or on a star or something. But how can there be flames above and below you?
I don't know.
The same way that there's like ground above and below in stage 1 of Gradius.
Yeah.
Well, I can believe you're going in a tunnel there, but there can't be like a tunnel on the sun.
Well, it just...
Or can there? I mean, I don't know that much about the sun.
Well, there obviously is. They're called funnels. You didn't know?
He's thinking, is he serious?
No.
Funnels.
Everything I learned about the sun, I learned from the movie Sunshine. Not really, but a very underrated movie.
Core and the core.
That's on your Voodoo list, isn't it?
Yeah, I really like it. A lot of people really hate the twists in that movie, but I don't really have a problem with it. Great soundtrack in that movie too. It might be liking the twist in Sunshine might be a controversial opinion.
Well, now you've got me wanting to watch it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a very good movie up until that. A lot of people will say, "Oh, it's pretty good for the first like hour and a half or something like that," but and then it goes off the rails at the end when it turns into a horror movie. But it like I feel like it's properly telegraphed. Like the twist is properly telegraphed. It's just, geez, I'm getting crushed.
Don't spoil it.
Okay. But the music is great in that movie, and discounting the last like 40 minutes of the movie or something like that, once it becomes a horror movie, I think is disregarding some of the movie's best scenes. Toasted over here, or it said toasted on any speed limits. Got a stinky foot. Noted, thanks. Oh, we got
$5 from Notamore, saying finally working on getting RGB cables for my Super Nintendo. Thanks for all the helpful videos. Well, thank you.
All right, I feel like I should play something else. Let's switch it up one more time.
One more time. Oh wow, I didn't realize how close to 11 it was.
Try to see what I got over here. Hey, do you have Night Striker?
I don't know if you can hear us right now.
Okay. Because that game has an amazing soundtrack.
Retro Game Collectioner is asking about a entire series on Blu-ray. I mean, that's something I'd like to do. I don't even know where to begin with it. What should I play?
Do you have Night Striker?
I bet I do, yeah. I have it on PS1 if not. Yep. Night Striker S.
Yes.
Great music in this game.
Yeah.
I like
best
it.
Music. I love it.
Yeah, I love the music it plays in between stages.
Oh man, yeah. Absolutely. So good. I was first turned on to Night Striker through Darius Burst CS when the DLC dropped.
Oh, really? Okay.
And I was like, ooh, gots to gets this.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I played it in the arcade. When I was a kid, and because I was a big Space Harrier fan, so I saw this like, oh, this looks pretty cool. And like I'm. There was a time, I guess, where I was a big fan of flying cars, like cars that like where the wheels turn sideways, like in Back to the Future, like hover cars, stuff like that.
Yeah.
This is like a mix of like Knight Rider meets Space Harrier meets Darius.
Yeah.
This kind of makes me think of that Sega CD Batman game.
Oh yeah, I could see that. This was before that came out. The arcade version, I believe. I'm pretty sure it was.
This is like Taito's take with the Super Scaler.
Yeah, and it is. It's very good. The most disappointing thing about the home releases is that it loads when you have the branching paths. And it's like, oh, it kind of...
There's a touch of a load time. Yeah.
The floor looks like polygons, though. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, it could be. I don't know.
Well, this is all 2D.
How arcade perfect is it?
Well, it's 30 frames per second instead of 60. Which, when you're playing it, it really doesn't feel that bad at all, actually. But I think there are, I don't know, it's a little less sharp, I suppose. There's a little more color to the arcade, but generally speaking, though, it's pretty close. You can even use the Saturn mission stick for this.
Oh, yes. I have it. I should get it out.
Is that the box that you gave me?
Yes. And I'm planning on doing probably very soon a video on first-party controllers, because our third-party controllers video ended up doing like really well, and I thought it'd be fun just to do a video on first-party controllers, just like the various first-party controllers that people might not think about when I think about it, like the official controllers. And the mission stick will definitely be in there. I bought my mission stick along with Space Harrier because when I had to sell my Space Harrier arcade cabinet, I thought, okay, I'm just gonna get the Saturn version with the mission stick as a way to compensate for that loss. It's just that I could not get my Space Harrier arcade cabinet like into this house.
You could have.
I mean, I can't imagine taking the thing up to the attic. It would have been awesome.
It would look awesome in that kitchen space up there.
Yeah. Oh.
I need to get a mission stick, though. It's one of those things that I'd like to get one of these days. But I think more than that, I really want to get a Dreamcast arcade stick.
Oh, like the Virtua stick or whatever. Or no, that's on the Saturn. But there was
Saturn, yeah.
But there is one that's it's close to that, isn't it? Or it's.
Yeah, well, they just call it the arcade stick.
Okay.
And it's like gray and green.
Okay.
It doesn't look like a Dreamcast thing because, of course, of the lack of orange. But I mean, the green looks pretty cool too. They're not terribly expensive, but I do kind of need one for what I'm doing with the Dreamcast stuff.
Couldn't decide if I was impressed or not with the water in that previous area.
You're a hard man to please when it comes to your third person rail shooters. It's got to have perfect water. Makes the game.
I love the water in Panzer Dragoon 2. Like, it's got that curvy effect that the Saturn kind of does on some of the 3D stuff. I mean, you'd never see anything like that on N64 or PS1. Not the way the Saturn does it. Like,
whoa.
I'm sure that effect is used other places. I know it's used in Grandia.
There's some random big balls in this tunnel. I was not expecting them.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
Gee, there they are again. Be careful. That's what it's like, be careful. I'm trying.
I mean, I just doesn't seem...
Someone's throwing big balls at me. Roll them down the tunnel.
It does not seem like the right kind of corridor to transport big balls now. I mean, you know, there's more spacious places to be doing that.
Not when you're trying to take down the Night Striker. I have this
voluminous spirals.
I got this. The soundtrack is on vinyl from Ship to Shore that they released.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. I never really got into video game vinyl though.
Yeah, I have not bought any in a long time. I enjoy buying the ones that are specifically of games that I like. Like I bought all the Sega Super Scalar ones that Data Discs did. Like, I had to buy Space Harrier and Afterburner. You know, those are two of my very favorite soundtracks. So I had to do it. Super Hang On and Outrun. I don't know if they ever did like Power Drift or anything.
Mike Golf is asking, do either of us like Einhander? I actually do like Einhander a lot. I played quite a bit of it a few years ago. I didn't finish it, but
you should make that a priority.
Yeah, I should. I ended up getting the Jimmy Hoppa sold me the Japanese version for really cheap. So the first time I played it, I was borrowing it from someone. But yeah, I need to make it a priority to play through that. That is a really neat game. I like the atmosphere in it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's see if the sky is more impressive than the water.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised I'm making it as far as I am.
Shield extends by 2 units every stage too, so if you can make it through here, you can get your shield back up to a decent amount. The Night Striker is good for a 1cc. It's pretty easy to do.
How many games have you been able to 1 credit complete?
Not as many as you'd think.
I mean, the reality is, though, a lot of shmups are almost designed to where you nearly need to.
Yeah, if you want to get your money's worth out of them, right?
Right, but I guess what I mean is, like, if you die in some games, it's really hard to rebuild.
Oh yeah, like in Gradius.
Yeah. Like, who was it?
Gradius
Somebody
1.
was saying that, like, if you die on stage 3 in Gradius, like, you have to restart because it's basically impossible at that point.
More or less. I think Gradius 1 is a game where you have to 1LC it. You have to beat it with 1 life. Otherwise, it's impossible to recover.
Yeah, that's one of the things I really like from what I've seen of Axelay, because you just lose 1 gun each time you get hit, and then you lose a life. So there's no building to it.
Yeah,
that was another thing I liked about Glay Lancer was it was easy to get back in a decent situation after you die, and I believe it's also infinite continues if I remember right, which is unusual for the genre.
Axelay?
Or maybe it was just a login. No, not Axelay. Glay Lancer was.
Oh, Glay Lancer, yeah. Okay.
I think infinite continues, or if not infinite, a lot. I still didn't finish it because I was doing it on a stream. Just couldn't get quite that far.
I did a playthrough of what was that game that we did there a couple weeks ago? Crisis Force for the NES or Famicom rather. That's like a late console release Konami shooter. That I think it came out like 92 or something, or maybe it was 90. I don't know. I've got it here.
I should have gone. I decided to go to the temple instead of the suburbs. I kind of wish I went to the suburbs now.
$1991.
Okay, so relatively late-ish.
Yeah.
Not
so
super late, but...
So yeah, we got to I got to the stage 6 boss before I died.
Your first time playing it?
It was a perfect. What was that? Sorry.
Was it your first time playing it, or you? That's
No. I had played it. I reviewed it back in Series 5, I think.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, like it had been a while though since I had played it, so I knew what what to expect. But it was also the first time that I'd played it on the monitor that I use now, which is 1 second. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the games that I was playing, the games that I was playing back then, the monitor that was used had like a 32 millisecond response time. So it seemed like I was really bad at them, just because like I had a third of a second delay. So yeah, with the new monitor, I got all the way to stage 6, the stage 6 boss before I actually died, and then it sort of fell apart from there for stage 7. But I almost had the 1cc on it. It wasn't terrible.
What was the first game that you were able to do that with?
First 1cc? Well, that's hard to say. Let's see here. Earlier on, I guess, what was I playing back then?
Because that's just
UN Squad.
It's basic.
UN Squadron was one of them.
Really?
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof. That is a game I have that. I am terrified by that game. Even though you can like, at least I'm talking the Super Nintendo version.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you can grind lives to an extent in that game, but like I am not good at it.
Yeah, I did manage. I got the 1 credit clear on hard, but not on gamer.
Well,
I want to play through that game, but it is intimidating to me.
It's a really, really good game.
It took me a long time, but I got two of them that I really wanted the 1 credit clear on. That I played a lot as a kid with my friend was Airzonk.
Oh.
And I got the 1 credit clear 5 or 6 years ago. Mm. And like I started playing it back in like, I guess it would have been 1994, I suppose. And then more so than that, Galaga 88 for PC Engine.
Oh.
I got the 1 credit clear on that. And you can only get a 1 credit clear. You can't continue in that game. So I got that after nearly 20 years, or maybe longer than 20 years of playing. Yeah. That's one of my favorites, though. I love Galaga 88.
So you're able to, I mean, I was just talking to somebody recently about this, about how I think a lot of people think, oh, I used to be so much better at games than I am now. But I think I'm way better at games than I used to be. Like, when I really sit down and think about it, like, I think that I'm just, like, I understand, like, the nuances of gameplay better than I did when I was younger, when I was supposedly better at games. Like, I just think that I'm better now than I was when I was a kid.
Well, I know I'm better now than I was as a kid.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess, like, I know for a fact that I am better. But, I mean, a lot of people fall into that trap of saying, oh, I used to be so much better at games than I am now. But really, I think
you just have more time to bang your head against the wall.
I was more tolerant of them back then. Like, when I went back to play D-Force, yeah, that wasn't a fantastic time. I ripped that game straight out of a running Super NES and threw it across the room.
I think I'm more tolerant of bad games now than I used to be, because I used to look at games and be like, oh, you know, this is poorly designed gameplay. But now I look at it and I'm like, yeah, but it's interesting. You know, like, especially when it comes to like NES or PC Engine, like that sort of level of game. I feel like I'm much more open to not necessarily that good a game, as long as there's something else interesting about it. Like they tried something kind of cool. Even if it wasn't like perfectly executed, I'm still like, oh, it's kind of cool. Are there any shmups on your backlog? Like, are there any that you just like have for years admitted defeat in, or do you end up pretty well getting through them?
Well, let's see here. That I've given up on?
Yeah. Or well, maybe not necessarily given up on, but a victory has eluded you.
Do you want to link to the page again? Because some people are curious where it goes. Just so you know, or just so they know. The duty has been completed. The player destroyed the armored health.
So wait, you just beat the game?
Yeah. By receiving communication, the player knew the detached force succeed to explode base of the organization. The natural shape of the boss was a dishonest political who lost his position years ago. Details, however, were still unknown.
Someone really thought this plot through. I can't believe you just beat this.
I bet I had it on easy or something. Let me just there we go. Oh, okay. I hit the button to make it so that that link would show up, and it says another mod has handled this. Thank you. I bet I had it on like very easy or something. If I didn't, then I'm gonna consider it beaten. I'm gonna consider the PS1.
You have a physical copy of this?
Yeah, the PS1 version.
Oh, okay.
I got it when we were in Japan.
Still got to get the PS1 version, actually.
Well, apparently this version's better, but I was told by I think it was John Linneman told me that the PS1 version is better for some reason.
It probably runs smoother. I don't know if it's still 30 frames or if it's 60 on PSX or not.
Special thanks to many other people.
You know who you are.
Yeah, you know who you are, but we couldn't remember who you were.
I like the Rankin screen. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Let me see if I had it on easy or something.
Zoom, zoom, zoom.
Oh, you're the top player.
Yeah.
No, I had it on normal.
By a slim 570,000 points.
Yeah, call your PS1 version beat then. Why not?
Yeah. Auto neutral. Oh, that's for the automatically go to the center of the screen. Well, I wonder what the extra game is.
So the extra game is a Saturn specific course. It's pretty hard, actually.
Yeah. Well,
it only follows one path, though.
I'll go ahead and try it. That way it gives me I can try it on neutral mode too, so I can fly around. All right.
Yeah, I bought Night Striker S specifically
for this
2
mode.
Years ago now. Yeah.
For the exclusive track.
Well, I didn't know that it had exclusive anything really, but I didn't have a Japanese PlayStation at the time. It was pricey though.
I don't think the PlayStation version was very expensive.
No, it isn't still. It's pretty affordable. For whatever reason, though, this one here was like $150 when I got it.
Strangely, this game also came out on the Sega CD.
Yeah, it did. It was really scaled down, granted, but it's still Night Striker.
Yeah, it's cool to see that it came out on this on there. I mean, I've never even played it. I wonder how it looks. This is definitely quite a bit harder, but you can go up really high in this though too.
Oh wow, look at you go. It's crazy. Didn't know that. The Starfield has parallax to it.
Oh,
that's cool.
I don't think we're moving enough to get that kind of perspective.
Holy cow.
How many stages is this supposed to be?
This here, it has the same amount of stages through its playthrough, but you just can't go left or right in your like between stages. Yeah,
but it's harder.
So it's just as long and it's harder. Yeah.
Were you able to finish it though?
No. This is one I couldn't do. There's your answer. This one is eluded me.
Well, no, at least the special version.
In actuality, getting like the true final boss in like Dodonpachi Resurrection, that's been difficult. Getting a 1 life clear in, I think I already did it, but I'm not 100% sure. Mushihime-sama Novice Ultra. Getting a 1 life clear in that has been difficult.
What about don't you have to do like have to play on like the highest difficulty or something to see all the content in Gradius 5?
I don't want to think that's
not in 5, no. Not in 5.
I thought when you beat Gradius 5, because you played it on easy, right?
I played it on very easy, and it still took me like 20-something hours of game time.
I thought there was something in the ending that didn't let you see, but maybe not.
No, I mean, I don't think so. I mean, Gradius 5 is definitely one of my favorite shooters. It's just, it gets rid of like a lot of the annoying aspects of Gradius, in the dying and going back to a checkpoint. You know, you respawn on the spot in that one, and you can like pick up your options, like right when you respawn if you wanted to.
I think one game I just don't think I'm ever going to see all the levels in, because of like, you don't get the best ending or even all the levels or bosses when you not only don't play on a higher difficulty, but also you have to like get a certain rank as Contra Shattered Soldier. Like, just doing the bare minimum beat in that game is so hard. Like, but then you have to get like S ranks on all the levels, I think, in like hard mode to like, I think there's like 2 levels beyond the basic final level, and that ain't happening.
We'll do one more just
because you can't help it.
Yeah, just to wrap it up. Let's see. Maybe I would do Battle Garaga, but I played that a couple weeks ago. How about I thought about a Thunder Force 5 for a second there. I could do that. I mean, I could do. Yeah, well, we'll do Thunder Force 5.
Ooh, yes. I've only played the PlayStation version of this.
Yeah, I mean, same here. And I thought the PlayStation version was supposed to be better, but it actually is not.
Yeah, everyone kept telling me that it wasn't.
Even though it's it's called the
perfect system.
Yeah.
Not quite working designs.
Yeah, I think it's just because it's a whatchamahoo's it there.
I'm gonna put it on kids mode, just because that's what
kids mode. Yeah.
I'm not ashamed. I love the first level music in this game, though. It's got such a cool intro, like that, like guitars just like slides in. a little bit because it's that good.
It's like those games that have a subtitle that makes up the system they're on, like Kingdom Hearts 3D.
Mm-hmm.
We drop distance because 3Ds.
Yes.
Thunder Force 5 perfect system because PS for the PlayStation.
Oh.
Yeah.
There was another example of that I was thinking of not that long ago. What was it? I mean, there's a bunch of examples of that on the DS. I mean, like Resident Evil Deadly Silence.
Yeah, DS is terrible for it.
Yeah. Advance Wars Dual Strike.
Yeah. Wow, that's some slowdown. Holy cow.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I'm not used to that.
Right off the bat. Free range. I like the one weapon. It says craw. I always love the Thunder Force voices because they're always quirky in one way or another.
My favorite is in Thunder Force 2.
Yeah.
When you first start your stage.
I forgot what it says. Someone probably can tell me. I know that if GameSack is still in the chat, I know that he's the one that told me what it said.
Like, I can hear it in my head, but I don't know what it says.
Yeah, I'm sure someone in the chat probably knows.
Oh yeah,
what exactly it says.
That's a hard game though. Holy cow.
Yeah. I was able to actually finish 3 on stream a few months ago.
Oh, nice. That's a great game too.
Yeah, 3 is probably my favorite one, I'd say. Even though I can understand why people like 4 the most, because 4 is such a good-looking game.
4 is the one that's got that level with the clouds and the water, right?
Like straight off the bat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they pulled out all the stops immediately, and no one told him to slow down.
So that this looks like it's a pretty serious downgrade visually from that. Although,
I would say so.
Yeah, it's not wonderful looking.
Yeah, but I mean, I understand what they were going for, I guess, at the time, but it was a lot more novel at the time.
Oh, sure.
Looking at this,
Oh, you thought it was over? Guess what?
But 6 is a pretty lackluster looking game too.
Still waiting for that to come in the mail. My expectations will be thoroughly.
Oh, you haven't played it before?
No.
I mean, it's not great.
I do want to get the the 2 gold packs and stuff, as well as 5 for the Saturn.
Yeah. Oh man, I would love to have the gold packs. I almost bought them when we were in Japan. Because I mean, for a long time, that was the only way to get the arcade version.
AC. Well, wasn't Thunder Spirits AC as well? I thought it was AC.
Oh yeah, but I mean, it's like the arcade perfect, I guess.
Oh yeah. You'd want that.
Yeah.
Thunder Spirits isn't fantastic.
No. But I think AC is going to be one of the Sega Ages that's coming. So that's kind of cool. Now there's a Shienryu 1 and 2 on the PS2.
Yeah, it was part of the Simple series that D3 did. Like Simple 2000. I think most of them are Simple 2000. Simple 2000 is the shooting double Shienryu, or Shienryu rather, and basically it has Shienryu, which is the one that you played earlier, and Shienryu Explosion, which is a Yoko-oriented vertical scroller, and uses 3D graphics. Oh, get that extend SHMUPS. There it is.
That's another thing I picked up from the M2 interviews is, calling Extra Lives extends.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I blame that on Mushihime-sama.
Oh, yeah. So
I knew that was a thing in Taito games, but I didn't know that was like their generic word for it.
Yeah. There was one part during the Shot Triggers interview where it's clear that the guy who is answering a question is trying to think of like what it would be called in the U.S. And then someone else just like extends, like jumps in and like answers for him, or just like says it. He's probably thinking like, oh, should I call it like an extra life or something like that? I was probably thinking about it.
An extra man.
Yeah, an extra try, extra
free guy.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing in Castle of Illusion. It says tries at the top of the screen.
Yeah. Well, they can't say they want to say that. They want to insinuate that it can die.
Man, one additional attempt.
Yeah. Like when you think about it, like, I got an extra guy. Like that's like I mean, there's definitely a point when I was young where I would say that. Did you ever say? I may have talked about this before, but when I was really little, we used to refer to each level as boards.
I've heard that one.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely a thing that we.
I've always been a levels man.
Didn't a lot of Atari games refer to them as boards, though?
Probably, and that's probably where we.
I can understand where it's coming from, in those early days, but it's funny to think of. I've always said lives, and I've always said levels.
And you always die, right?
Yes.
Even if you lose at a puzzle game, I died.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I would say I died in a puzzle game.
Well, I would. Like if
maybe. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I'm just not sure.
I've always been partial to puzzlers, so not too bad at all.
I've been like I was really into puzzle games like during the 16-bit era, and then like I kind of fell out of them for a while. Like I just didn't have a lot of interest, and I feel like in the past year with like Tetris Effect and I also played Puyo Puyo Tetris. Like I've really been getting a hunger for them again.
That one breaks me a bit. Puyo Puyo Tetris. Oh.
Yeah, I was kind of into it, and then I guess like some of the.
It gets really hard. The story mode lets you skip if something's too hard though.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I didn't know
like
that.
I think you can. I think if you get stuck on one, like I don't know. I think if you try it like 5 times or something, you can just go to the next one. I might have done that for one or two of them.
Because some of them are pretty tough. I mean, just like kind of those alternate game mode levels are pretty difficult.
Yeah. You should try it. You can occasionally skip them. Like I didn't want to like skip like the last one or anything, but I think I skipped a couple. Like
that
years ago, I would have been all harumph about that, but just one or two free passes.
That's how it starts.
It's a gateway feature. Game over. Try to next chance.
Oh,
is that what it says? Try to next chance. Game over. I'm gonna let it run down.
Calling to you.
What do you think is the best looking shooter ship? Like what do you think is the coolest looking ship?
Someone asked me that. I really like the Delta sword from Dodonpachi Resurrection. It's a pretty cool looking one.
Oh.
It's neat.
I don't know if I've ever seen that one.
But like they made a bunch of them. Like Shooting Game Historica. It's a series of little figurines that you can.
Oh yeah.
I have 3 sets.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know one I like. I like the the red ship. I forget what it's called. Toryu or something like that. I think it's called from Soki Rentai. It's an amazing looking ship.
Was that one of the ones that they made a little model of?
It was in Series 3, I think. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I mean, it's probably I don't know. It's probably such a generic answer, but I think the Vic Viper might be my favorite, just because I really like how. I just think it looks really cool.
Kind of wish they.
I mean that is a very popular answer is the Vic Viper.
I see.
Like for me, like I've always been like, yeah, the Vic Viper is fine, but I just don't see anything striking about it to me necessarily. But I wouldn't say I have a pick, honestly.
What's the Darius ship called?
Silverhawk.
Yeah, that's also a very cool looking one.
I've got like 6 Silverhawks. I got the Japanese and the limited run version of the collector's edition just to get all 4. And then I took one color from each and made one multicolored Silverhawk.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Another one I really like, which is kind of maybe, I mean, I don't think it's a generic choice, but maybe it'd be considered like a generic looking ship, is the ship from Gyres. Or however you say it, Gyres.
It's pronounced Gyarus.
Gyarus, okay.
I only know that because of the ad with the dude with the mullet.
Yeah, but it has.
Can you say Gyarus?
Hey, we got $1 from Rad B Show.
Well, thank you.
I also want to say that for tonight only, anybody that doesn't get any of the codes here, you can. You can still get the soundtrack for $4, but my entire discography is 80%.
Holy cow!
Tonight only.
80%, and it's usually
80% off.
Isn't it like usually like $25 or something, right? Or something like that? Is what it is? Like what is it normally? Like
$70.
Oh, 70.
Yeah, $70. Well, you get 200 tracks of music.
Yeah. That's an insane amount of music. That's like how many albums?
15.
15 albums. I don't know why I thought that.
You just click that link right there, huh?
Well, sort of. You got to take out the yum.
Oh, the yum, because that's just for the.
That's for the redemption. Yeah.
Right.
Here's the. Give me a second here.
So the first one is the third gate. Your first one. Was your first one?
My first one? No, my first one was actually Where the Air is Thin.
Oh, I see. Okay, so it's just like they're not like listed on here in release order.
It should be reverse order, I think. So the latest is at the top, and okay. So the ones at the bottom are actually singles.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, the third gate was made in Series 3 of Bullet Heaven. PC Tenjin was made in Series 4, and For Great Treasure was one that I produced for a store in Seattle. That one's free anyway.
A store in Seattle?
Yeah, they were doing
they play it in their store.
Well, they'd play all of my music in their store.
Oh,
but, yeah, they
is it a game store?
Yeah, it's called Sunken Treasures Games.
Oh, okay.
And they made a podcast and they wanted a theme song, so they got in touch with me. I was like, sure, I'll do your theme song. Do you have any shmups? They sent over a copy of In the Hunt and Gigawing 2.
That's cool, though. I mean,
it was a decent deal, yeah.
Yeah, both games are pretty expensive these days.
Yeah, even then, Gigawing 2 was kind of pricey, so I think I made the right choice.
The Dreamcast version?
Oh, yeah.
I almost bought that like a few months ago.
I have to get Cannon Spike. That's my last major one for Dreamcast that I want. But I've got Gunspike already, so I don't know. I know a guy in town that's got it, and he might sell it to me.
If you can talk him into it. Do some music.
He's ex-EGM, so we'll see.
He's what?
He's ex-EGM, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean Greg?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually work. I do music for the firm that he works at.
Yeah. He told me about that.
Yeah.
Greg's is a good friend of the show.
Oh yes.
I didn't realize you like
live
close to him. That's actually cool. I had no idea that. That makes sense. I never made that connection. I thought he just like worked with you remotely for some reason.
We live in the same city.
He's been on stream with us a couple times where we like to go through old game magazines.
Oh yeah, nice.
So it's always fun to do that kind of thing. Because
I'm almost 100% certain he gave Dragon Quest 3 on Game Boy Color a 10. I think that was him.
Well, I mean, it would make sense.
Is that controversial? I've actually not played the GB, the Game Boy version.
Probably not. It's really good.
Yeah, I was pretty sure that was considered a decent version. Dragon Quest 3 is a great game.
They added animation to all the sprites and stuff too, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I haven't not played it. I almost bought it recently. I definitely need to get those, I think.
Do you have any version of 3?
I have the Super Famicom version. That's it.
Oh, nice. Okay. It's a good one.
Yeah, but I mean, I can play with a fan translation. That's it.
I think there might be some issues with that fan translation from what I heard, though.
Yeah, that's possible because it makes the ROM really huge, I guess.
Yeah, it makes it bigger than the UFO won't play it. But
man, you just been going crazy with those download codes. Hopefully, people are getting them.
Yeah, a bunch of people have been saying thank you. You're all welcome.
Well, everybody, if you are not subscribed to Bullet Heaven, you should go and do that right now. And you have 200 episodes to catch up on. 240 episodes to catch up on. So,
and lots of music to enjoy.
Yep. And
if you like the music in M2.
Yeah. And you say it's 80% off for tonight?
80% off tonight only.
Or does that just go until midnight, or is that until?
I'll end it sometime tomorrow. when I come back from work or something. Otherwise, normally it's 60% off anyways. Pretty good deal.
And a lot of that goes to help you get what's the game?
Goes right back. Well, we're trying to get Harmful Park right now, but I mean everything just basically goes back into production anyway. So like all the money that we get from music and our streams and such, it's all 100% production funds. So it keeps everything going.
Yeah. Everyone should go and subscribe. And you have a Patreon as well, correct?
I do. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Patreon is over at patreon.com/Serexer. I'll put it up here. That should work.
Once it comes through, I think it sort of appears. I think. There it is.
Now, our Patreon goes by the episode, so of course, make sure to set limits if you need to, because it can go anywhere between 3 and 7 episodes a month, depending how heavy the workload is.
Yeah, I mean, so you've done like 7 episodes a month at times.
Okay, so that's an interesting story, actually. Not this last December, but was it this last? No, it was the December before. We applied for a ton of reviews, and we didn't think we were going to hear anything back, especially from the ones that were out in Japan only. And we got all of them, so we had to hunker down and do 7 reviews, full reviews in a month. We called it Shmuppy Switchmas.
What were some of the games?
We did RxN Raijin. We did Dimension Drive. I think we did a couple of the
like some of
Zero Div Shmups. Mm-hmm. We did Rive, which was excellent, by the way. The next Penelope and a couple of others, but yeah, definitely the highlight of that was definitely Rive and the Zero Div stuff for sure.
That's good though. I mean, you have got all those reviews though. I mean, especially since I mean, if you weren't expecting to get any, I mean, that's a good vote of confidence, and it, you know, gave you a lot of content, and that was just probably this past like late last year, right?
No, it wasn't last year. It was the year before. It was for the end of series, or no, it was when the Series 9 just started.
Okay, for some reason I thought Dimension Drive, that's the dual screen one, or the split screen, like you control two ships or something like that, right? Or you go.
Yeah, the ship switches between the two sides.
Right.
So like when your ship is on one side, there's a dot on the other, and you got to make sure that you're not going to like warp into a wall or something. Yeah, it's good, but it leaves a bit to be desired. Probably the most disappointing review we ever did was actually part of that block, and that was Arcs and Raijin. We were really amped about that game when it was first announced, and when we finally got hands on with it, it was kind of atrocious. But you'll just have to watch the review to hear our criticisms and see them as they happen, because it was quite disappointing.
Have you played Devil Engine?
I did, yeah. I reviewed that one too. Not so everybody wanted us to review it. I think it hit 1,000 views in a day.
Really?
A big deal for us. Yeah, it wasn't bad. It was difficult. It was very difficult to get footage for that game because it has very easy, which is kind of a misnomer because it's still really freaking hard.
Yeah.
And then very hard, and there's like nothing in between.
Yeah.
But then there's an additional expert mode, and I just can't. My brain doesn't do it.
It's a great looking game. I love how that game really just embraces the dithering.
Oh yeah, no, it does a really good job with, like, visually that game is phenomenal, and its soundtrack is otherworldly. It's really, really good.
Mm-hmm. I wish the power-ups were like
gameplay's really hard.
Like the weapons. I wish there's kind of a little bit more to the weapons.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people likened it to Thunder Force, but like when you get right into the nitty-gritty of it, it really doesn't play like a Thunder Force game at all.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it looks
and
like
actually,
it's obviously going for like an homage to Thunder Force, but yeah, it definitely does not.
Yeah, the music especially, because I think one of the Thunder Force guy worked on it with them too. Like 1 or 2 tracks was composed by the original Thunder Force composer.
Really?
Yeah.
But
there was a lot of places out there that sort of mistakenly published that the whole thing was done by the guy, and that sort of misrepresented it just a bit, right? Mm-hmm. And the original composer's like, whoa, I actually did the music for this.
Yeah, I don't know, that'd be frustrating, I guess, especially.
A little.
Just a little bit.
Just a bit.
All right, so I think that's gonna do it for this week. Thanks for joining us, man. It was great having you and talking shooters.
Yeah, for sure. It was definitely a pleasure. Before we go here, Gonçalo Ferreira says, review Omega Fighter. You're one of many who have requested it. I'll try to get it in as soon as I can, but I've got other things in the works.
That's right. That's always the toughest part, is you get people saying like, "Oh, can you do this? Can you do an episode on this?" It's like, well, we want to, but we're only, you're probably like, we're only 2 people. We can only do what we can.
When I master the art of 36-hour days.
Exactly. Exactly. I sometimes think that would not even be enough. Anyways.
Yeah, one of these days I'll get this whole temporal distortion thing mastered, and we'll be in business. Infinite time.
All right, everybody. We will see you next week.
All right. Bye for now.
Later.